Hello, once again, and welcome to Ascendant Hope program, where we bring you stories of hope and encouragement. And today we have a very interesting topic. We have been talking about raising children with special needs. And today, the discussion that we are going to have is with a parent who is raising not one, but two children that have autism. And she'll be able to explain to us the challenges and how she's been able to journey up to this point. But before I introduce the guest that we have today, I want to acknowledge my co-host.
Hello, viewers. It's always a pleasure to get a moment to interact with you on this platform as we continue to share life amongst each other. Before we delve into today's discussion, I just want to introduce us to the people who make us look beautiful, our hair and makeup, our beautiful nails by Gorgeous Looks. They are at Mountain Mall, Thika Road. So you can visit them and also experience the services they offer. They are very professional. You can visit them anytime.
So our guest today is one Wambui Gafari, and we are so excited to have you today and look forward to very productive discussions. Like I said, we are going to talk about autism spectrum. And from what we have learned, it is a developmental disorder that affects the development process of a child or a person, their capacity to interact, their social life, and they present in certain ways. But the best person to talk to us about that and give us more details is our guest today, Wambui Gafari. Welcome so much.
Thank you so much. So as you said, it's a spectrum. So ASD, it's called Autism Spectrum Disorder. So it affects individuals differently in varying degrees. And then it ranges from mild to severe. So I think I'll talk about my experience because every child with autism or any person with autism, when you meet one person with autism, that's what you experience is very different from the next person. Yes, it's unique to individuals. So even my kids, my second born, she's 11, she's called Nema, and my third born, he's Ephraim, he's 10 years old. So they are very, very different. If I told you both of them are autistic, you will not believe it because they don't present the same characteristics. Yeah. So let me start with when they were younger. Autism is, you don't notice autism when the child is young, when the child is born.
So it's not possible to tell.
It's not possible to tell.
Okay.
Actually, my kids, they hit all the milestones. If it's sitting down at 4 years, social smile from 3 months, from 6 months. So what normally now that I can notice, then I didn't notice then, is when they're around 9 months, the child starts babbling. So my daughter didn't babble, but my son babbled. And then they are able to point at things. So a child with autism will not point at anything. So, but it's easy not to notice that one. So at the age of 16 months, the child has words, like one word, like mom, dad, or the common, Maji, water. So a child with autism will not have any word. Not everyone, because my daughter didn't have any words, but my son had words. So for my son, the words disappeared at 24 months. So
he had the words
he
and
had
then
words.
they vanished.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then again, because I think I was concentrating so much on my daughter, I didn't notice so much about Ephraim. At some point, my mother-in-law was complaining, we forget about him because he was, at that age, he was hyper. With autism, there are those kids who are hyper and there are those kids who are hyper. Hyper is when he's just quiet. He's
not much activity.
No much activity. He doesn't cry. He doesn't, But there are also those symptoms, we call them characteristic of autism. Like he wouldn't sleep. Even my daughter wouldn't sleep at night. So when both of them have not slept, even you are not sleeping. So you're always tired. And then there is sensory overload. At that time, you don't know. You don't know about sensory. What is sensory? So there's sensory overload. There's lights, there are smells, there are sounds. They are unable to regulate themselves. So they used to scream a lot when
So
they
the
were
sensory
young.
overload,
Yes.
does it mean they are hypersensitive to light, to sound, or what does that mean?
Yeah, so if it depends. Like my daughter is very, very sensitive to noise.
To noise.
Yes. So we used to, there are some things we call headphones for cancelling noise. Yeah, so yeah. We used to, when we were going to church, when we used to go to church, she used to put those on, and then my son, and then she had even smells, she's very good with smells, and even sounds. So if there's a lot of noise, she'll border. Now I can tell when she's bordering a meltdown. A meltdown is when the child, the senses have, she's unable to regulate herself. So now she's screaming and she doesn't know what to do. So what does she do? She's crying and she's destroying everything. So a parent has to differentiate between a meltdown and a tantrum. Because of course every child has a tantrum. Even them, they have tantrums. But you have to negotiate, to be able to differentiate, yes, between those two. Yeah, so when they were younger, so let me talk about Neema first, because now you see there are two. So for Neema, I couldn't tell, no one could tell that she had an issue until when she was 1 year, 6 months. I noticed all the kids, we used to live in a flat, all the kids her age, and even I have my niece and my nephew who are her age, they were born the same year. They were saying words, they were saying mom, and Neema was not saying anything. So even those other places at home, other kids will say he, they will point he. And I've been asking my daughter to do that. She not even understand what I'm saying. So I noticed there's an issue, but I was pregnant with Ephraim. Yeah. So now, if I will tell people there's an issue, people are asking, what's wrong with you? Because Neema if she sees you, she would smile. So everyone was thinking, hey, what's wrong with you? But I think God has given us that motherly instinct. You are able to tell something is not right. And I remember, I told everyone, I was telling my mom, my siblings, and everyone was telling me, what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with her. Just leave her. But my friend, a very close friend of mine, I told her, I think she's the one who took me seriously. And then she told me when you realize something is wrong with your child, you don't know what to do. Because it's not a disease. She's not sick. So you don't know what to do. So she told me there's a group that is doing assessment. I need to go. So I went. That time Ephraim was 5 weeks old. And I went with my brother. And as they were doing assessment, Neema didn't have the obvious red flags for autism, like eye contact. She didn't have any repetitive behavior. She played alone. By that time, you can't tell because there are no other kids. So the ones who are doing the assessment, they told me she needs to do a hearing test. Then I was with my brother who didn't think there was anything wrong with Neema. He's there telling them, I don't think we need to do that. So he gets his phone and puts on this song for Shusho, and Neema is dancing, and my brother is telling them there's nothing wrong with her. So even then they looked a bit, So my brother told me, you're wasting your time, let's go home. So we went home. I decided my child is okay, we will wait. And then that was in July. Then in December, we went home, and my brother, my firstborn, by the way, I'm the only girl at home, so I have my brothers. Yeah. They are the best. So my our firstborn, he really loves kids. Then he came and told me, I think something's not right with Neema, because she's not responding like the others. So he took a bottle and started hitting it like this. And all the kids were following the sounds. Even Ephraim. That time Ephraim, now he was 6 months. So he's following the sounds. But Neema, nothing. She's just doing her things. So we discovered something is not right. And that's what most parents with kids autism will realize. The first thing they will be told is to do a hearing test. Because a child with autism, you think they're not hearing what you're saying. But they are hearing, but they can't understand. So now after that,
So to them, it sounds like a noise?
Yeah, it's a noise.
Okay.
So that's when we went and did a hearing test. She was told she has fluid in her eyes. The grommets were put in her ears. And then the grommets came out. Then we went back. We thought to do speech therapy. So we started immediately. I think we started in April. We did speech therapy for 2 years. Anyway, so for Ephraim, it took me a while. Because first he had words, so I didn't notice at first. We didn't notice at first. So, yeah. When I was taking Nema for speech therapy, that's when the therapist asked me, "Mama Nema, how does Ephraim wave?" Because a child with autism will wave like this.
Instead of this.
Yes.
Instead of, yeah.
Because to him, when you do this, he's seen this, so he thinks when you're waving, you should.
Oh.
Yeah. So she asked me that and asked Ephraim, can you wave? And Ephraim did that. So she told me, hey, Hapa, you have problems. So that's when now we started the process with Ephraim again. But with Ephraim, it was very, very hard for me to accept because I was thinking how you can't, it's so unfair, really. So, yeah, you can't do that twice. It is so hard. As in a child with autism, you see, they don't have any physical disability.
Yeah.
So everybody's thinking this child is hard-headed.
Or spoiled.
Spoiled. They call them spoiled. They call them brats. They call them, you are spoiling your child. So that's why you find even many parents, before they realize their child is autistic, that child would have been hooped. They are.
Stop misbehaving.
Yeah, stop misbehaving. Why are you behaving like this? Yeah. Because it's not a physical disability. You cannot be able to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let me ask for you as a parent, and maybe just to speak to other parents who may also not be aware. As you've said, maybe sometimes the thinking is just indiscipline.
Yeah.
What are some of the things a parent should look out for? So that if they suspect probably the child is having developmental issues, what are some of the symptoms are they called symptoms or what? Signs of autism that they should look out for to know, okay, I might need to take my child for testing. Yeah.
First and foremost, I tell people there's that instinct. As a parent, I think it's God-given. You'll know something is not right with your child. Secondly, with autism, you'll be able, the first and the most obvious thing is the child is not talking. Most of them, not everyone, but most of them will not be talking. Secondly, there's just sensory overload. You realize maybe your child loves lights or hates lights. Sadly, their kids, most of them, they don't sleep. You are doing 24 hours, don't sleep. I don't know why it is. Yeah. Then there are so many symptoms. The others, like Ephraim, it's watching things going around. I'm forgetting that word. Watching things going. He's obsessed with around things. That motion. I think it calms him.
So parents who are seeking to understand probably what is happening to their children, because as you said, sometimes we don't get the information we need when we Google online. Where can they get authentic information that can assist them in understanding how to raise their children or even how to take care of them?
Okay. I think the best person to diagnose autism is a neurodevelopmental pediatrician. There are very few in Kenya, I think. There are 5 or 4. Yeah, you can be able to, if you're able to access them, but they are only in Nairobi. And then if you're also in Nairobi, there's KISE, Kenya Institute of Special Education, and it's free. They don't charge anything.
And people can walk in anytime?
You can walk in. You can walk in KISE. And they also do therapies, which are not very expensive. They charge 100 bob. Because I know money is an issue with parents with kids with autism, because there's a lot. There's therapy, there's diet, there are diapers, it's a lot. There's bus fare, transport to and fro to where you're going. So if you're outside of Nairobi, there are level 5 hospitals. They have a department. You can go and ask. They also have department for therapy. So you can ask, but most of the time is occupational therapy. Speech therapy is still an issue. Yeah. So then there's ERC, educational assessment, ERC, and resource center. In every county they are there for, if you want your child to be placed in a school, because the schools, they are also, it's another issue with kids with autism. So yeah.
So maybe before we get into the school aspect and the challenges that you face, probably you can tell us, how did that impact your family? Did it affect you in any way? Your relationships in the family, your husband, your children?
Of course it did.
Relatives?
Yeah, it did. Oh my God. It did, because you see, with any parent with a child with autism, you will not see them going to visit people, because when you go visit people with your child, that your child is destroying people's things, he's breaking things, and my kids used to break TVs all the time, and tables, yes, and the curtains, they are swinging with the curtains. So how would you go visit someone? And then and when you avoid people. You avoid people a lot. Right now, it's when I'm learning not to avoid people. You avoid people coming to your house. Like when Ephraim was younger, Ephraim was very, he used to play with poop. So he will poop and will not know, and then he's smearing everywhere. And then you can imagine how the house is smelling. And then, he was not potty trained. It took forever to potty train Ephraim. I used to tell God, oh my God, if this child ever goes to the toilet, I'll never ask for anything else. Yeah, it was that bad.
Wow.
So you wouldn't want someone coming to your house. So I avoided people. I've missed a lot of social event, weddings, baby showers, bridal showers, a lot. My friends, they are thinking, when they call you 1, 2, 3 times, they see you're not showing up. They give up that relationship. So you are kind of a loner. So, and then I made a decision to stay at home with my kids, to teach my kids, because I couldn't see how I can employ someone. I couldn't imagine, because this child is not aware of themselves. So if you leave them with somebody, they'll beat them. They think they are just ignoring them. And then, so it affects you socially, that's for sure. Yeah. So you have to start building other relationship with parents with special needs. That's what I think. But you don't even visit each other. But if a parent with special needs comes to my house and break something, I'm okay. I will not feel bad. I will not feel, why did I invite them? I understand it has happened to my house, in my house. I get it. So socially, it doesn't work. Then relational with my husband now. So in the house is chaotic. Even you are chaotic because you haven't slept the whole night. There are chores that needs to be done in the house. You don't understand your child. You really, that's something else with autism. You don't understand. Because with autism, you have to teach everything. If it's a cup, the way regular kids, typical kids, you don't teach them cups and plates. They pick up. With a child with autism, you have to teach. This is a cup. This is where we put cups. This is a sink. This is a spoon. You have to literally teach everything. So you don't have time for your, which time? You don't have time for your spouse. You are tired. And you are waiting for your spouse to come home so you can drop somewhere and sleep. So that one, I think my husband really realized that gap, and he was, even your relationship with God, that time, it was, you didn't even want to pray and say what? Say, what are you saying? So my husband was able to pick that and realized he has to do something. So spiritual, he just kept us going to church and just, praying. We kept praying every day. And at the time I was not praying at all. And he'll come and just hold my hand and pray and pray and pray. And then we just sat down and just started praying, because show us what to do. Just make a way. It's so dark. You can't see anything. Just make a way in your own way. So I think my husband has held my hands when it comes to, he has really held my hand, because I think I would have lost myself. The only thing I used to talk about is autism. I'll Google autism. I'll talk to parents with kids autism. I'm writing about autism. Everything is autism. I lost myself completely. I never used to buy anything for myself. If there's money, I'll just go buy anything that will help my child. So everything was affected. Yeah. So and my siblings, I know my siblings. I told you I'm the only girl. I know my siblings. They adore me. So I didn't want them to experience the pain that I was going through. I know they could guess because sometimes they'll try to get me out of the house. But I used to shield them. Up to today, I shield them. Even my mom, I don't let her know the challenges that I go through. There was a time my mom came to my house and Ephraim didn't sleep the whole night. And he was screaming the whole night. And my mom didn't sleep. And then in the morning, she's asking me, this is how you sleep. How do you sleep? You know, so you could see she was very, very affected by that. You know, she was so I tried to shield them. I tried to shield everyone. So I kept to myself a lot. So the only person I think who would get me out is my very close friend. She's called Angie. She used to come and force me to go. We go outside. We go for ice cream for like 2 hours or just coffee or something. And then we laugh for 2 hours. And then she'll not talk about kids. She'll talk about anything else but not kids. And that one used to help me. I think it used to help me a lot. Yeah. So it really does affect you as a person. It affects your spirituality because you don't understand why. But when I went for Ephraim's diagnosis, he was 3 years old. I told my then pastor. And then when we came back with the results, I came home and I told my husband. He didn't speak. He just went to the bedroom and closed the door. And
Like baby number 2.
Yes.
That other baby also has.
So, and I remember I was just lying on the carpet and crying and asking God why. This is so hard. It has been so hard with Nema because Nema we had episodes. Nema we used to remove all clothes and just walk like that. You know, and she's a girl. There was a time I think she slipped out of the house and she went outside. I didn't notice. So she was playing with a mud puddle outside on the road. And then a car comes. And then the car is hooting. Nema is not responding. So there are people around there. They are telling her, get up. Talk her. Yeah, she couldn't understand what they're saying. So she's not even looking at them. Then another lady, the shop lady, now she came and told me. She came with Nema. I don't know if they beat her. I don't know what happened. She came with Nema and she asked you, is your child deaf? Mama, what's wrong with your child? And then now the realization that she left the house. You are in the house and you didn't notice.
That's very
devastating. Yeah. So now you have had that. And now you have this. And Nema also never used to sleep at night. She would sit down the whole night, but she never used to make noise. She was just seated, which was weird. So, yeah, now you have another diagnosis. So me, I was just lying there on the carpet and asking God, and why? And then God, and I just heard a voice telling me, whose report will you believe? That's not my report, that's their report. I've not given you my report. And then the following day, my pastor came and he told me, never doubt the character of God. God is good. He's not malicious. Yeah. Don't doubt him. And I think that gave me the courage. Yeah, it gave me just to know God is just with me through this. And our pastor really walked with us. Him, I think he wasn't intimidated by autism. He used to come home, even at night, with his wife. And they would stay there, even at 12. And I'm thinking, these ones, they are okay. They are not, they are okay with everything. Even if there are funny smells, they are just there. And we are making jokes and we are talking. In church, it was okay. Yeah. So I think even him made things easier for us that time.
Wow.
Yes.
That is so pleasant, even to have someone who extends grace like that when everybody else doesn't seem to understand. I'm just wondering, you're talking about the devastation of the second diagnosis and then your husband not even knowing how to respond to that and just being silent. From there, how do you people now journey on and be able to manage the situation to where you are today? Maybe take us through that process.
So when we prayed and told God to give us a way forward, we are still doing therapy with Nema. And then there was a social a group, a support group in Facebook. I joined that group, and then there was a training for parents with kids with autism. It was my first training. So I went, and this lady who was talking, she was talking about pre-communication skills, pre-writing skills. And I'm thinking, she must not have, she doesn't know about autism, because how can you talk about pre-communication skills to a child who does not even understand themselves? If it's a child who is, if you call them, they are not aware you're calling them. If they can be walking and they are just urinating on themselves, and then you're talking about pre-communication skills, how? But that training changed my life and our lives and our trajectory towards autism journey, because I remember I took notes, and then after that I followed that lady. She was there, and I followed her. I followed her to her car, and I told her, you have to teach me, because she has a child with autism herself, and she's a special needs teacher. And then I think for her, when she realized they have 2 kids on the spectrum, she realized how I experience autism, this one is experiencing twice. So she started teaching me how to teach my kids. My goal was speech, because it was so chaotic in my house. Everybody's screaming. If they are hungry, they're screaming. If they're thirsty, they're screaming. If they are hot, they're screaming. They don't know how to remove clothes. They are not able to communicate at all. So this lady started teaching me over the phone. Do this and this and this. So we got some PECS called Picture Exchange PECS communication. So it's like a flashcards. Flashcard, it's a picture of like apple, water, or anything your child would want to communicate they want. So before we started with PECS, we started with imitation. Kids with autism, you have to teach them how to imitate. So clapping, jumping, like that. So the first time it was hard, but she kept telling me it's doable. And I saw after 3 days, they're able to jump, clap, they're able to follow instructions. That's another thing, because the kids with autism at that age, they're unable to follow instructions. They're not aware of what you're saying. It's like someone coming talking to you, and you are not a Kikuyu, and someone comes talk to you fluent Kikuyu, you're wondering, what are you telling me? And the same thing with autism. So then after that, when they started following instructions, we started now with PECS, Picture Exchange Communication. So it's a picture like of apple. My kids really loved apples when they were kids. Then you teach them, this is apple. Apple, apple, apple. So if they want apple, they'll go to the fridge, anywhere the apple is, and then they'll bring that picture of an apple. So they want apple. If they want water, you bring that picture of water. So now they are able to communicate their needs. Then you start verbalizing. Now it's apple. So we had a corner, a special place for academics. So that's why we started teaching words. This is apple, car, hyena, even animals. They love animals. And then school helped a lot. Because you see, kids learn from other kids. So it helped a lot, I think, with socialization. They are forced to say words. So the only issue was they could not speak Swahili. Now it's when you're introducing Swahili to them. They used to speak English. And sometimes there would be a communication breakdown with other kids. They are not able to express themselves in Kiswahili, and the others are expressing themselves in Kiswahili. So anyway, I was looking for them to get receptive language. Receptive language is when I tell you something and you understand. So we worked on receptive language first. Receptive language is you teach them everything. If I tell you I want a cup, they know this is a cup, they bring a cup. So when a child gets receptive language, she's able or he is able to, the expressive language will not be hard for it. Yeah. So there are children who may never talk, there are children who are nonverbal. But I think for me, I had faith. These kids are going to talk. As in, I didn't have a doubt that they will not talk. So I was going for speech, and I was going for independence and awareness and cognitive skills. We really worked on them. So you see, with a child with autism, you can't even walk. You can't walk at that age. You couldn't walk with them the way you walk with your child beside you. They either run, or they go across. So they are not aware of danger. If they see a car coming, they're not aware it's a car. They will just cross. So most of them, they get hit by cars and all that. So I was really focusing on that. I wanted them to get that independence. So we started there, teaching at home, at school, and then the words keeps coming. They kept coming. Yeah, now we're able to communicate.
Oh my
That shows a
goodness.
lot of resilience.
Yes.
And it actually speaks into the attitude the parent must gain to be
Towards
able
the
to
children.
raise those children.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you just went in full force. I'm teaching them everything.
That was good because I think my goal was I want them to be independent. But on the downside, I really forgot about myself. I hear people talking about self-care. I have no idea. I didn't have any. What is that? What is self-care? I was really focused on that. And I'll say God has helped me because I can say I taught them, but I know a lot of things, a lot of skills they have acquired right now. I cannot even pinpoint where they came from. I know it's God. As in, it's just, by the way, at some point, I was bringing parents to my house. Come, I teach you how to teach your child. Oh, wow. Yes. Teach your child. And I was very offended if you're not working. Why would you not want to work with your child? And, everyone has their process. Yes. There are people who take long to accept, who are still in denial. And with autism, especially when a child regresses, regression, I think, is the worst thing with autism, when they lose some skills. Yeah. So that process, some parents, they're not like you. I think it's God who helped me and gave me that goal. You have to work with that goal. They have to achieve this at this age. And I think I was so hard on them. At some point, I didn't think I was a very good mother. So my kids are able to, by right now, they're able to associate with me as a mother and as a teacher. By that time, there was no balance. I was just thinking, I want this. I want you to gain this milestone. I want you to know how to write. I want you to know how to do mathematics. I want you to, Yeah, I think I really pushed them a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
You talked about, Wambui, you talked about a place in your life when you felt like, God, why?
Yeah.
Why have you allowed this thing to happen to me? I have this first child, then another one comes and they still have autism. At what point were you able to come to a place of acceptance and viewing God correctly and viewing his love for you? Was there a time, and what happened to trigger that?
Yeah.
Because definitely, I'm sure the Wambui that is sitting here today is not one that is asking
began
God
the
why.
journey, yeah.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is a different Wambui.
Yeah.
And probably if you can take us through that. What happened that you got to a place and you're like, yeah.
I think that that time when my pastor told me that they don't doubt the character of God.
Yes.
And I think my husband went to see the pastor, and he told him, these children are gifts from God. In fact, so many good things will come to you because of these children. And then we are able, before that we never used to discuss about it. You're just going through the emotions. And then we are able to sit down with my husband and my husband was telling me, we are just stewards. Don't think if you die, these children will not live. They will live and they will achieve what God wants them to achieve. So you have to see it's God doing this. And God has bestowed this to you. It is your task, and you have to do it correctly. Yeah, and I remember that time we really prayed and told, and that time I was so focused. I was very, very vocal in advocacy for autism and awareness. And before we got to that stage, I was very eruptive. If you came and asked me a very ignorant question about autism, what's wrong with my child, I was very, very eruptive. I didn't display God at all. And then God, when he sat down with my husband and started seeing the process as something God is demanding from us. And he was telling me we need to ask God for blueprints to raise these children. Yeah, not your head knowledge, not what you are reading about autism. And he told me that time, because I was so focused, I used to get frustrated with my husband because I'm thinking, you should be reading about autism, you should be knowing everything about, you should be like me.
Yeah.
And, it's not like
all
that.
the
Yes,
information.
yes. So, and then my husband, by that time, I was able to let go. I was able to let go and know this far, it's God who has, who has helped us to come to that level. And now I stopped being aggressive with my children. Then I realized I was so super aggressive with them. I think that was a turnaround point. Yeah, it was a turning point. I stopped being very visible. I was all over. As in, everything autism, you will find me. All over, any activity. And I was very, very vocal, demanding services from the government, because I'm thinking we are paying taxes. You should be doing this and this and this. I was very, very vocal. Then I just slowed down. I told God, I just want you to teach me how to raise these children. Yeah, teach me. So that's when we started. And then my husband is very good when it comes to teach them about God. Because you see, these ones, you can't sit them down and teach them about, they will not be able to relate about God, because with the autistic kids, it's what they see. If you tell them about God, they are wondering, where is he? If you tell them about Holy Spirit, where? But now he started bringing those cartoons, like super book and others. There are so many resources in my house about God. So now they are able to, in fact, when they are doing their CRE exams, they are the best, because they can relate with every story in the Bible. If you talk about Joseph, all those people, they are able. My husband is able to really work on that. I think I work on the academics and their and their skills. So after that process, they are able to teach them even about to pray. They pray a lot. Even when you find them, like Neema, if you find her doing something wrong, you say, oh my God, it was Satan who made me do that. Now she's able to tell the difference. Yeah. So I think now we have brought them to a level where they understand God. And I think that's what is most important, not all these skills.
Right.
Yeah. What is important is them for them to know God, to know the character of God, to pray when they're in trouble. Yeah.
So do they have fluent speech today?
Well, Neema has. Ephraim will communicate his needs. He will talk to you when he feels like, but he's able to communicate everything he wants. But he wouldn't come to a stranger and start a conversation unless he really wants something from you. If he wants something from you, you say, hi, please help me with whatever he wants, but he will not. He will not necessarily come and approach someone.
So basically, he can express himself.
Yeah, he can express himself.
But he's not keen on starting conversations.
He will never start a conversation.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
But Neema can do that.
Neema can do that. Neema is okay. Neema, we talk stories. Right now, she's a preteen. She wants to talk about boyfriends. She wants to know about boyfriends. She wants to know how he met with his dad. She wants to know when I got married. She wants to know,
wow.
yeah.
Right.
She wants to know if my husband used to take me out when you're dating. Yeah. And
nice.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, is that a characteristic of autistic children? Because I've met some who actually just ask you questions so directly. Is it a characteristic of autism?
Yes.
They don't know how to beat
No.
about the bush.
They
Yes.
do not know how to. I remember, in fact, I wrote in a group, there was a time I used to pray that God teach Neema how to lie. Because it was a prayer. No, I regret that prayer. I regret that prayer, because with autistic kids, they will tell you as it is.
Wow.
They will tell you as it is. If you're not looking good, they tell you you're not looking good. They are very direct. They are the best person to employ anyway, because if you tell them to come at 8, they'll be there at 8. Yes. They are very, 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 I'll say, very, very honest. Yes.
Structured
Yes,
as well.
structured.
Self-governed.
Yes, they are the best. I'm telling you, the autistic kids are the best. If I don't know why employers they shy away from them, but they will be the best. Yeah. They are very, very, very honest.
So viewers, this has been a very interesting discussion with Wambui, who was sharing her life on the autism spectrum. And we will continue this discussion in part 2 of this episode. And we want to encourage you to be on the lookout for that so that you can be able to hear how this story ends. So we encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you're able to know when that part 2 is up. So thank you for being with us, and bye for now.